Parshat Chai Sarah begins with the passing of Sarah Imenu. Now, when Avraham goes to find her place for burial, so he has this encounter with Ephron. Essentially, Ephron offers to give Avraham the necessary land to bury Sarah. And there's a whole conversation back and forth between Avraham and Ephron, where Avraham wants to pay, and Ephron keeps on insisting that, what's money between them, and he wants to give it to him for free. Now, at the end of the conversation, finally, when it comes down to it, so Ephron not only takes the money, but he then insists on the highest currency of shekel that exists. When you do the math, it comes out that Avraham paid an exorbitant amount of money, much, much more than the actual land should be worth to sell to a stranger. Forget about someone that wants to offer it for free. Now, on this point, Rashi mentions that Ephron the whole time was speaking in a way of being generous, a giving, kind person, and at the end, he took way more than he was entitled to. And the Torah indicates this to us by taking away the letter Vav from his name. Ephron is spelled Ayin Pei Resh Vav Nun. And the entire sequence of events, every time the Torah mentions Ephron, it's written full with the letter Vav, which is a vowel in this context. But at the very end, after Ephron takes the money from Avraham, it writes the name Ephron and the Vav is missing. The Torah uses this method it's called the Ktiv Chaser, to teach us that Ephron himself was also chaser something, that Ephron was lacking that midah to follow through with what he was saying and thinking. We see the Torah communicates to us on a very high level, and by just removing one letter, it teaches us an entire idea. Now, on the most simple level, why the letter Vav? So the answer will be, because that's the letter of his name that was a vowel which could be removed or left in. Meaning that's the only letter that could have been taken out of his name. That's one way to look at it. But we want to go deeper and explain why specifically the letter Vav is chosen in this case. Let's start with how to write a letter Vav. When you want to write the letter Vav in a Sefer Torah, so you actually first write the letter Yud, which is the top of the Vav, and then what you do is you continue writing the Yud, you draw it down further to the bottom, and that becomes a Vav. Based on this, some of the different commentaries, specifically I saw it in Likutei Moharan, one of the Hasidic Sfarim, mentions that within the letter Vav there's really a letter Yud. Yud represents the idea of chokhmah, of wisdom, the function of one's head, the thoughts that he has. Now, speech is an expression of those thoughts. So if we want to look at the letter Yud, it can represent the idea of thought and speech. The letter Vav represents the idea of, just like when you write it, you take the Yud and you draw it down to the bottom, so too Vav represents the idea of drawing down thought and speech all the way down to the lowest level of action. That is also why the letter Vav itself has the shape of a person's body, because a person's body is made up of two parts, the head part and the body part. So too Vav has a head, which is the Yud, and the Guf, the body. That teaches us that together, a head and body in man represents the idea of thought, speech, and most of all, action. Now, according to this, it comes out very nice. Ephron, who said a lot and thought a lot, but did nothing, lost the letter Vav, which represents the whole idea of connecting one's thoughts and speech with action. Taking this lesson a little bit further analyzing Ephron's name, the root of Ephron's name is from the word Afar. Now, Afar is earth, dirt. The Balei Musar, based on Kabbalah, explained to us that man's physical body is made up of 4 elements. The part of man's body that's made up of Afar, the negative aspect of that is laziness, being dormant. Just like the earth stays in one place, so the midah, the attribute that expresses itself within man, is the idea of being lazy. Now, we see, interestingly here, the idea of Afar comes in man and holds him back from fulfilling his desires, his wants, his aspirations. Now, there's another way that we can understand the word Ephron, and that is by using the same letters, Ayin Pei Resh, just changing the order, as Oref. The Oref is the back of the neck. When Hashem talks about a person being very stubborn and unwilling to change, it's called stiff-necked, Kasher Oref, being stuck in the negative behavior that a person is usually sometimes trapped in. There's behavior patterns that we fall into where we might want to be better, we might want to do better, but the nature that we've become used to, our habit, takes over, and it becomes very hard to break through that and make real change. So the lesson of Ephron that really relates to all of us is the idea of working to break the nature of the physical body, the Afar, the earth part of us, which is lazy by nature, and also the stubborn part that wants to just stay with routine and do what's comfortable and not push ourselves to grow and advance. So beautifully enough, if we want to fulfill the opposite of the lesson that Ephron teaches us, which is to represent the letter Vav, which in fact we're taught from the Zohar that the letter Vav represents the Torah itself. We have to work to connect our good thoughts and our good speech with the follow-up and the conclusion by acting it all out. And that is what our Torah and what our life in this world is about. It's about making this world a different place, a better place, through acting out the beautiful ideas that we're able to learn through Torah.